All right, let's dive into the hidden science and, the real soul of one of music's most misunderstood instruments, the bass guitar. It's that instrument you often feel way more than you hear, and in this explainer, we're going to find out exactly why that is.
I mean, really think about it. You're at a show, the lights go down, and before you even hear a single melody, you feel that deep thrum right in your chest, right in your bones. What is that? That feeling, that's the starting point for our entire journey today.
So here's what's actually going on. Those really low frequencies, we're talking between 20 and 250 hertz, they move so much air, they literally become physical pressure waves. Your skin, your body, it has these things called mechanoreceptors that pick up on these waves, and that directly stimulates your brain's motor cortex. So you're not just hearing the bass, your body is being physically told to get up and move.
And this whole physical connection, it brings it to a really cool core concept called the foundational duality. Basically, it means the bass lives in two worlds at the exact same time, the unchangeable world of physics and the super expressive, totally human world of groove. Let's break that down.
So first up, let's really get into the scientific soul of the bass, the non-negotiable physical rules that it just has to follow.
Think of it like this. On one side, you've got its static nature. This is just the simple physics of a thick string vibrating. It's a fixed template, right? But on the other side, you've got its dynamic nature. And that's the player, the human, who takes that rigid template and breathes life and groove and all that emotion into it.
You see, a single bass note is never ever just one sound. It's a whole stack of frequencies called the harmonic series. The main note, the immutable core, is the one you actually name. Let's say it's an E. But layered on top of that, you get an octave for body, a perfect fifth for stability, and even a major third that adds a little hint of color. It's wild. The bass is basically playing a whole chord all by itself.
And that physical reality leads to what's called a static constraint. I mean, you just can't fight physics. A big, thick, heavy bass string has inertia. It takes way more energy to get it vibrating and more effort to make it stop. This is exactly why the bass naturally holds down that slower foundational roll. It's not going to be zipping around like a flute.
Okay, but this is where the art comes in. This is where the bassist has a secret superpower, hidden control. Just imagine a guitarist is playing a simple, happy C major chord. If the bassist plays a C, everything stays happy and stable. But if the bassist plays an A underneath that exact same chord, the entire harmony magically morphs into a sad, kind of soulful A minor 7. The guitarist didn't change a thing, but the bassist just became the emotional puppet master for the entire band.
So right, the laws of physics are fixed, but the rules of how you're supposed to play the instrument, well, those were just made to be broken. Let's talk about the absolute legends who came along and completely revolutionized the role of the bass.
It really all kicks off in 1951, with Leo Fender's Paradox, a small instrument that could make this massive, perfectly in-tune sound. Then you get James Jamerson in the 60s, turning the bass into a lead melodic voice in all those Motown hits. Jump to the 70s, Larry Graham literally turns it into a drum set. And then Jaco Pastorius comes along, rips the frets off, and makes it sing like a human voice by intentionally bringing back the risk of playing out of tune. Every single one of these steps was a total game changer.
And get this, the story behind slap bass is just incredible. Larry Graham was playing in a band with his mom, and one night their drummer just quit. So out of pure necessity, he starts hitting the low strings with his thumb to sound like the kick drum, that's the thump, and then plucking the high strings with his fingers to sound like the snare, that's the pop. An entire genre was born because a drummer didn't show up to a gig. How cool is that?
This quote from the legend himself, Victor Wooten, just nails it. The bass is the bridge connecting rhythm and harmony. It's the invisible foundation that holds everything else up. But this whole idea of being the foundation, it points to one final ultimate truth about what a bassist is really there to do.
Okay, so we've covered the what and the how, but now let's talk about the why. What is the ultimate, absolute purpose of a bass player? Well, it all comes down to a single, incredibly powerful concept. The one.
Now, the one is so much more than just counting to 4. In the whole philosophy of funk music, it is the absolute, non-negotiable anchor of the entire song. It's like the musical center of gravity where everyone, no matter how wild or crazy their playing gets, has to land together right on that beat.
And as the godfather of soul, the great James Brown said, the one is derived from the earth itself. Wow. He wasn't talking about music theory, was he? He was talking about a force of nature. It's the ground beneath your feet, and it's the bassist's job to make sure everyone feels it. So this right here, this is the bassist's true duty. You provide the ground. You hit the one with so much authority that everyone else in the band feels totally free to explore, to improvise, to just fly. And ultimately, it all comes down to this. You serve the song, not your own ego. You are the selfless foundation.
And so, we come completely full circle. The bass becomes the Ouroboros, that ancient symbol of a serpent eating its own tail. It provides the beginning of the whole musical cycle, right there on the one, and it provides the end by bringing everything back home to the root note. It's the loop that contains everything inside it.
So we see the bass as this amazing connection between pure physics and deeply human feel. But that leaves us with one heck of a question for the future. If that human feel, that groove, is really a biological feedback loop between musicians, reacting to each other in real time, can an AI, no matter how smart it gets, ever truly learn to feel it? Something to think about, right?